Hey, good morning, guys. UC here from iTradePrice. It is about a little after 8 Saturday morning. Yes, I wake up early, bright and sunny. Just you can see I don't have much to do except reading charts, even on the weekends. Before we start on our weekend video, I just want to kind of review some of the plays right from yesterday, just to kind of give you guys more confidence and the charts that we post in the morning, and how to read them and how to react to those numbers and things like that. I put in a lot of time to create these levels and kind of create some sort of a plan. So let's go through some of these numbers, right? So for example, QQQ, right? Here's how the morning chart was shared, right? So we were about an hour and a half before market open. This chart was shared. So the price was around 313.2 at that time, right? So the overnight low was 312.6, and then the pullback levels that we would have wanted to get in were around 310.5 to 308.5, right? So anywhere between there, if we had seen a dip, it was a nice dip by area, right? And as long as you're above the this uptrend line, right? So let's see what happened. So if I go to QQQ chart, right, here we are right now. So before we dig into our weekly update, let's just bring in the levels. These levels are updated for next week, but just we'll review them as if they were Friday morning, right? So here is the chart. So what happened? In the morning, right at the open, the stock dipped right, so 310.5 is somewhere around here. Oh, no, actually right here, 310.5, right? So when we opened, we saw the dip right in during the first 5 minutes right there, right? So that is the time you get in, right? The stock price or, the index, it's not going to wait for you to come that, hey, let me wait for somebody to get in and then I'll pop. It'll just get in there. You should have an order there and it just immediately pops. That's the kind of a market we are in. And then it never saw the downside, right? So that's the kind of level that we kind of come up with and give you those pullback levels, right? So your order should be ready. Or if you miss that, that's fine. Let's play the intraday levels, right? Let's look at one more. Okay, let's look at Tesla, everyone's favorite, right? So here is the plan in the morning, right? The stock was around 855 in pre-market at that time. So we were looking for an upside break above 857 to 858 to lean bullish on this name. And on a pullback, we wanted it to get around 840, right? It says pullback, right? So once it got there, I felt that it was a little heavy, so I said, okay, I'll let it go towards 832, and I would have executed. So I missed that little move there, but I then caught it back on the way up once it popped above 850 towards 856, and then we saw all what happened, right? So if I go to the chart, remember 840 level, right? So if I bring in Tesla, let me bring in the levels. So what happened was right here, right? This is the chart in the morning, right? We opened up right here, dipped all the way down to 840, and actually we kissed 837 here, but you get the idea. 840 to 832 was the level to get in, right? So I missed that entry, but then I caught it right here somewhere because the market was bullish, and then it eventually got above 857 and 858, the level above which we wanted to get bullish, and it never went back down that level. You can see that level kept on giving it support on the pullback. So that meant that level has some significance, right? So if it's going to be above that, it kept on building above that in a sideways nice ascending triangle type pattern. And I think Keanu Trades also mentioned that in his Discord to members, and so that was kind of good. He has a good eye in picking these things up as well intraday. And then we saw a breakout above 867, and this never came down. So really cool setup there in the morning. So look for those kind of names. I mean, just not only these names. We post multiple other charts as well, but it depends on what you want to trade, what your what your risk is and stuff like that. Apple 162.5 plus was the further strength. Intraday bullish above 159.5, so that meant if it drops towards 159.5, that is a good level to try a long play, right? Because that's a good risk and reward, and I always tell everybody to think risk when you're playing, right? So here's Apple chart, 159.5. Did we go there? We just kind of turned right above from that. So, but at least the thought process is right, that you're getting it towards the level where the risk is low, right? So that's always good to see. All right, let's dig into our weekly video. I'm going to bring a chart of QQQ. Let's go into a monthly view because we have the monthly bars closed now, right? So pretty good reversal sort of a month, right? 3 consecutive months provided, this area provided support, 267 area, right? It never got below that. Previously that was also a support, as you can see, and now we have some sort of a level, this 315.1, that it really needs to break above, because technically speaking we're still in a downtrend, right? Because if I bring in the weekly view, you can see we're still below, we're still in a down channel, right? That thing has not broken, the price has not gotten above the down channel, right? Where you can see, yes, the momentum has shifted. Yes, of course it has shifted in the down, I mean in the short term, but we really need to see some follow through now in the following month, week or month or something like that to see some positive development, right? We do have this one, good bullish weeks, right? No downside follow through to any red week, so that's a good tell. So now 293 is good support on a deeper pullback level, right? On a daily pullback level, I think 308 level is 308.5, something like that can be a level that you can remain bullish above, right? Because we have some touch points here, and then if we get back below this, so this should provide some support, at least the first touch bounce, 308.5. I think that's what the level is right now. On the upside, we were targeting 315.1. We got there, right? Because of the structure, that's where the things kind of started falling apart, and then when it went back up, it retested that level, fell back down, right? So that meant this level has some significance, and that's where we got attracted to on the way up. So now let's see if we can push further up towards this downtrend line on a higher time frame. If we can, the structure high around there is 330, right? So we can see some maybe flags, sideways movement, stuff like that, a higher low, and then a push back up. As long as we're above this uptrend line, things look good. Okay, so it can be a scenario where it wants to make a right shoulder, something like that, and then take out this neckline, but we'll keep our options open and see the development, how it happens, right? But remember, 308.5-ish is the level on the downside that you want to see it remain above to continue with this bullish momentum. Okay, SPY, let's bring in SPX. I like analyzing that name better. Okay, let's look at the monthly view as well. Similar look and feel, right? We got this bounce from 3640 area. That was the area that it broke out of back when the COVID thing started. So we tested that level and bounced here in the monthly view. Now really, so on the when it was coming down, this was the support level, right? This 4180 area, right? So now this one is the resistance, right? So we need to get back above that and go towards 4306. That's the high of this monthly bar, so that can be the first initial target on further strength. Okay, weekly view, nice weekly view. I mean, we're out of this falling wedge pattern, right? You can say that. Here's the support area, which also became resistance, and now on the push up, definitely be watching this 4180 level on the upside as the first touch resistance at least, right? And then we can see if it wants to pull back a little bit, still honor this uptrend line, and then go back up towards 4306 or roll back. Okay, again, day by day we will observe the development, but important level is 4180, 4306 on the upside. Okay. Tesla. Let's look at a monthly chart, really bullish looking chart, right? But that doesn't mean we cannot see a little bit of pullback. This is a monthly view, right? It kind of ate up the previous monthly bar, got out above this potential sort of a bear flag pattern that was also forming in the lower time frame. If I'm doing in the weekly, right, it kind of totally went against that, right? So if this would have broken down, this could have been a continuation of this sort of a pattern, but instead we saw a push back to the upside after the earnings, and really making good higher lows, right? On a weekly view, technically speaking, looks very good and strong. On a daily level, here is what the support should be now, around 838, 840 area, or even 857, right, on a lower time frame, even like in an hourly time frame, because that's where we saw the intraday price kept getting bouncing from yesterday. So on the further strength, here's the structure high, right, the recent structure high, because that was the support, then it became resistance, some sort of. So 956 can be the upside target on further strength, but I don't mind a little bit of pullback or sideways action to let kind of moving averages catch up, let the trend line catch up, things like that. Okay. Let's look at Apple. Really good run since the early start of this month, right? You can see no daily bar had any significant downside follow through. Even these bars, right? Even these bars right here were just not bearish trend bars. They were just controlled move to the downside, and it kind of remained cautiously above the uptrend line here in the lower time frame. If I look at the weekly view, one thing that I'm observing is that you can clearly see that it's back testing this uptrend line that it broke down from back in the April-May time frame, right? It broke down this uptrend line right here, and now it's back testing that uptrend line. So I would expect some sort of resistance or sideways action. I'm not saying bearish, but you should see some little pullback in the lower time frame to kind of let the sellers kind of absorb let the buyers absorb the selling here, and then we can see if it wants to push above towards 166.5. That's the double top here from April time frame, and above that we have 171. So those are the levels, but if we can push through that as well, then this is the sort of the downtrend line, that we can kind of target on the upside. Sorry about my little line, it's kind of off, but you get the idea. This is the line that I'm trying to target on the upside. On the downside, this was the level that we were looking for it to break above. So if we get a deeper pullback, 156.8 is a support that bulls would like to see it remain above, right? In the daily view, right here, so yeah, gap up after the earnings. So we have this gap fill slash sort of resistance turn support area, right? 157 to look for. If I adjust this trend line a little bit to kind of cover that, so here's how it looks. So not a bad setup if it plays out where you see some profit taking off of this back test of the trend line, and then we touch that, and then we'll want to go back up or not. We'll see what happens, but those are the scenarios that you can plan for or look for things to play out. And then if it does, you can be confident that it's looking good. Amazon, really bullish chart, right? Back above where it broke down from. Clearly 137, 138, that area provided support. You can see right here, multiple touch points, and then once we broke down, so now we're retesting that area. If we get above that, this is 146.3 is the level to consider on the upside. And then we have, if we kept on pushing this is the downtrend line on a higher time frame, so that can be the touch point to look for, right? So on the downside, if we roll over, some profit taking kicks in. I think the daily chart kind of tells you a bit better story, right? This is the earnings jump, big jump. So we'll see what happens, but if this earnings was not there, right? So this was the area that we would have targeted, right? This little under 130 area. So we'll see if it comes down to that area, and if it breaks through, then definitely gap fill is in picture. But if it bounces back above from like 128, 129, that's a good bullish scenario that it wants to make a higher low, and it's going to kind of if I can also bring in a little bit of trend line here, oops. Let's go actually in the other time frame. This one right here is a better view. Hourly view. Well, trend line won't be that nice right now at this time. This looks like actually a sort of a flaggish. We'll see what happens on Monday, but as long as it can kind of stay within this 132 above range, this can play out nicely to the upside, right? But we'll see what happens. So again, like I said, 129 is the level just below 130 that it wants. We will like to see price stay above to keep the short-term bullish momentum. Okay, all right, let's look at NVDA monthly view. Relatively not that strong, right? Because the other charts we saw, they're kind of back towards their levels that they kind of broke down from back in the April time frame, right? So that's where it broke down on the April time frame. So all the charts, remaining charts are that we just viewed so far, they're back around these levels. So that means NVIDIA should have been around 200 to 204 level, but it's not. It's kind of lagging, but still okay. But from monthly perspective, that means it's still a lower high and a lower low. So relatively speaking, we have to be cautious in this name that it's still in a downtrend, and it's kind of relatively weaker name. Earnings coming up in early August. We'll see what happens. So far, every bad news for these major big names have been shrugged off, and just stocks kept on pushing back up. So if we see a push up next week right above this 181.5, because we have double touch right here, so then look for this structure high, and then 204 definitely the higher level to target on the upside. But if we see a rollback, I would say let's go into a daily view to see a better view. Not bad from it just looks like a sort of head and shoulder kind of a pattern here as well, right? It doesn't always have to be horizontal. It can be something like this as well. So on the downside, I think if we really want to see it hold 170, 172 area, because that's where this bullish trend bar kind of saw the push up, right? So that's where the majority of the buyers here in the short term are long from. So their stops can be sitting here. So if we see a pushback below this level, then definitely 160 is in play. Okay. All right, let's look at Google. On a weekly view, that was showing some sort of a bear flag, right? But it just bounced from there. So again, if you want to see a bear flag, it should have broken down from here, right? That was the bearish breakout, right, off of this bear flag pattern, but instead we saw a reversal back up after earnings with the market going back up. So I would have liked to see this chart around 119.5 to 120, but it did not get there. So we'll see what happens, because that's the larger resistance that we want to see it overcome, because we have a whole lot of this structure high here, right? So a lot of times since the past few months, we have seen price get here and then kind of eventually break down, and then it's not fully breaking down from this 105 level, right? That's where we saw the bounces from. So $20 range since the past month and a half or 3 months or something like that. So if it reverses, let's see what a monthly view looks like. Maybe it gives us a better higher level view. Not really. Again, 119.5 is the level to see it. So I think the setup, if you want to see a bullish scenario, some sort of a confirmation bullish scenario, could be that we start a month something here, we see it go down and then back up with a bottom wick, and then we have a big bullish body like this that breaks out, right? Or if we see a opposite where it goes back up, forms forms a top wick and then breaks down for a bear flag. So we'll keep both options open as traders, but right now the short-term momentum is on the upside, so we will keep on looking for bullish scenarios as long as the price is sort of above this 112 area, right? That's sort of the middle line of this whole range. So if we are above that, sure, we'll remain bullish. If we are below that, we'll see that if we can play that bearish breakout scenario. Okay. All right, let's take a look at a couple of more names. Which ones? Meta. I don't like trading that name. I know I traded that one once or twice this past week, and it did not do me good. I traded the the rejection from this one, but it stopped me out on the breakout here, on the false breakout, right? But I took the stop loss. That's how the traders how you need to be, right? You cannot be stubborn that, hey, but of course it played out like that, but after stopping me out. But again, the thought process was good, but false breakouts happen and you cannot do anything about it. You just have to move on, nothing personal, right? So we're back under this under the resistance of 175 and at this 154 support. So if we break down this time, it will be like probably the third or fourth time it's trying to get below this level. So this could be a breakdown towards this channel downside, because overall the chart is weak. It did not really play to the upside with the rest of the market. So under pressure, right? As long as below this downtrend line. Okay, on a monthly view, you can see we have a top wick on a monthly view, not a good sign. So that means usually if we go back up, unless we can get back above 175, this remains weak, because on a monthly level, you can see we have touch points here, right? These ones provided support. So once we broke down, now it's resistance. Yeah, it just looks weak unless otherwise proven above 175, right? So we have to stay with the trend. Technically speaking, it still can go towards 137. That's where we have a larger support. Here you can see on a monthly time frame. Okay, I mean, if we get a bounce from there, sure, we'll play that one. Okay, let's look at one more before we call it a day. Which one should we see? AMD. Yeah, I like that name actually. Here's a monthly view, nice monthly bar. Still technically from monthly perspective, a lower high and a lower low, but the good encouraging sign is that it did exactly what, you know, a technical trader should have expected it to do, was a bounce from 72.3, because we have so many touch points and support levels here, right? So now if I drill into, let's say, a weekly view, here it is touching this downtrend line, right? So maybe some sideways move, or if you just want to be a little aggressive and try to catch it on a little bit pullback in anticipation of a breakout above 94, because that's sort of the gap fill from here as well, and the downtrend line, right? But always, again, the better buys are always on the pullbacks. But anyways, 94, 95 is the level to break on the upside, and then try the level towards the upside is 111. Okay, that's where we have multiple touch points and is the recent structure high above 95 or 100 psychological level. On the pullback, again, staying above 82, 83 keeps it a little bit on a bullish note, but if it does not, if it really breaks down, then, you know, below 80 all the way towards 72 can be a play, because it just kind of couldn't get back above the downtrend line. Okay. All right, guys, have a good rest of your weekend. Talk to you guys Monday morning. If you have any questions, chart requests, things like that, let us know. Thank you. Bye-bye.